Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Soundaryavi, currently studying MBA at Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today I am going to present the topic on experimental research design, meaning and classification of experimental research design. Let's move on to the introduction. Experimental research design is a scientific methodology of understanding the relationship between two or more variables. This set consists of independent and dependent variables which are experimentally tested to deduce a correlation between such variable in terms of the nature and strength of such relations. Such assessment helps in deriving a cause and effect relationship, and it is even used for the purpose of testing hypotheses. Experimental research deals with quantitative data and its statistical analysis, which makes the study extremely useful and accurate. It finds its usability in the fields of psychology, social science, physical evaluation, and academics, and are time-bound studies usually used for verification purposes. Types of experimental research design. First, pre-experimental research design, true experimental research design, and quasi-experimental research design. Pre-experimental research design. Pre-experimental research is an observational research mechanism, and it is used to evaluate the changes in a group or various groups of dependent variables after changing the independent variable value. It is one of the simplest form of experimental research used to assess the need for further inspection if the satisfactory results are not derived from the observation registers. These are further divided into one-shot case study research design, one group pre-test post-test research design, static group comparison. True experimental research. This is the statistical approach to establish a cause and effect relationship within a variable set. The quantitative approach of this study makes it highly accurate. The assessment of test units and treatments takes place in a randomized manner. Apart from this, it uses the availability of a control group along with an independent variable that can be manipulated to obtain the required results. Quasi-experimental research design. It is a partial representation of true experimental research such that it seeks to establish a cause and effect relationship by manipulating an independent variable. The only difference is that it does not adhere to random distribution of participants into group. Thus, quasi-experimental research design is only applied to those situations where there is no relevance or possibility for random distribution. Advantages of experimental research. Researchers have firm control over variables to obtain the results. The subject does not impact the effectiveness of experimental research, which anyone can implement it for research purposes. The experimental results are specific. Post-result analysis. Research finding from the same dataset can be repurposed for similar research ideas. Researchers can identify the cause and effect of the hypothesis and further can analyze this relationship to determine in-depth ideas. Experimental research makes an ideal starting point. The collected data could be used as a foundation to build new research ideas for further studies. Disadvantages of experimental research. There is a chance of error and bias being involved in experimental research, which are very high, and the process of controlling independent variable to study changes in the dependent variable is highly prone to human error. Further, the results can be tweaked if the values are manipulated by the researcher. And experimental research is highly expensive and it is time consuming and cumbersome process to carry out a thorough experimental research process. The observational nature of the pre-test experimental research study makes it a qualitative research mechanism which does not help in deriving substantive conclusion based on hard figures, and it can produce artificial results, and it is an important factor in all independent variable that bring out variations in the independent variables. Conclusion. In conclusion, the experimental research design is a rigorous and systematic approach that allows researchers to establish the causal relationship by manipulating independent variables and observing their effects on dependent variables. By carefully controlling extraneous factors and employing randomization, this design enhances the internal validity of the study and ensures that the results are due to the experimental treatment rather than confounding variables. Ultimately, the strength of experimental research lies in its ability to provide clear, actionable insights and contribute to evidence based practice, though it requires meticulous planning and execution to address ethical consideration and practical constraints. Thank you.